In this podcast episode, Oz Pearlman, a world-renowned mentalist and performer, dives deep into the subtleties of human behavior, communication, and mind-reading techniques. With over 3 decades of experience reverse engineering how the human mind works, Oz shares practical wisdom on how to decode what people are thinking, how to build trust, spot lies, and influence those around you in meaningful ways. Far beyond mere magic or tricks, this conversation explores how small habits and tweaks in perception and behavior can profoundly impact success, relationships, and personal growth. Oz opens by clarifying a crucial point about his craft. He does not claim to read minds or possess supernatural abilities, as commonly misunderstood with mentalism. Instead, he meticulously observes and interprets tiny, often unconscious cues that people give away. Eye movements, body language, tone, and behavioral patterns that have evolved over thousands of years. This skill set enables him to read people effectively by understanding their thought processes and emotional states. One of the interesting examples Oz demonstrates involves asking a participant to pick a card from an invisible deck, revealing how he guides their attention and choices through misdirection and subtle clues. This highlights the principle that mentalism often isn't about what is shown, but what is hidden or redirected, illustrating how the mind is tricked to focus where the mentalist wants it to focus. What sets Oz apart from many performers is his emphasis on the utility of these skills in everyday life. He stresses that mentalism's true magic lies not in the entertainment, but in the application. Understanding what others think and feel can provide immense tactical advantages in business, relationships, and social settings. The fear of rejection, for instance, is a major barrier for many people, and Oz shares ways to reframe failure and build confidence by essentially tricking your own brain into overcoming procrastination and anxiety. A major theme throughout the episode is the importance of small, often overlooked details in human connection. Oz reveals how even remembering someone's name or specific personal details can create a deep sense of trust and make others feel uniquely seen and valued. These tiny acts, which many dismiss as insignificant, actually wield incredible power because they signal genuine interest and respect. Oz discusses his practice of immediately noting down details about people he meets, whether it's in a shorthand notebook or a calendar entry on his phone, and then using those details later to create meaningful interactions. This practice fosters lasting memories in others and builds strong social currency. For example, recalling the name of someone's child or the color they like can feel like a miracle to them as they experience the rare gift of being truly remembered. The paradox here is clear. What feels small and trivial to you is often monumental to the other person. This extends into storytelling as well, where Oz explains that your focus directs others' attention, and the narrative you craft shapes how people remember interactions. By controlling the spotlight on yourself or others, you can influence perceptions and narratives in ways that create mutual win-win scenarios. The podcast also delves into the psychology of deception. Oz explains that the key to spotting lies in learning someone's truth baseline, or benchmark, observing how they behave when being honest, so deviations from that can be more noticeable in moments of dishonesty. For example, differences in cadence, level of detail in storytelling, and subtle body language changes can hint at deception. He underscores that it's nearly impossible to read a lie with absolute certainty in a one-time interaction. However, long-term observations in everyday life reveal patterns. Many people are surprised to learn that children often have more developed lie detection instincts than adults do, which dim over time due to social conditioning and learned politeness. Rebuilding that intuitive sense requires keen observation and trusting your instincts, which Oz encourages as a skill everyone can develop. When asked how one could sell more effectively or influence someone during negotiations, Oz is quick to cut to the heart of the matter. It's never about you. The most successful communicators tailor their approach entirely around the interests, pain points, and desires of the other party. This requires careful preparation and listening, anticipating objections and acknowledging the other's needs before pitching your solution. Oz recounts how early in his career he tailored presentations depending on the audience, whether it was financial professionals or football players. He adapted his language and style to resonate deeply with the people he was speaking to. This empathy-driven approach is vital to gaining trust and loyalty. The episode also highlights the power of open-ended, positive questions that generate curiosity and dopamine hits in the listener's brain, sparking engagement and reducing resistance. For example, phrases like, "Have you heard why it's your lucky day?" invite intrigue without a premature yes or no, allowing the speaker to guide the conversation with minimal pushback. Confidence, Oz explains, is largely a muscle that develops through consistent action and mental reframing. He talks about building a mental dividing wall between rejection and self-worth to protect oneself emotionally. By externalizing failure, that was the entertainer, not me, he was able to avoid being emotionally crushed by setbacks. In addition, Oz shares a mental trick to overcome procrastination by fast-forwarding your feelings to 24 hours after the dreaded event, realizing that the dread usually fades quickly once action is taken. This simple cognitive tool has huge implications for people struggling with anxiety and fear of rejection. He also touches on the importance of physical habits and routines, noting how running and other activities have become his vacation, a flow state that supports mental clarity and creative thinking. The connection between physical health, memory improvement, and mental sharpness is a subtle but crucial element in the toolbox for personal success. One of Oz's most memorable insights involves his encounter with Steven Spielberg, where he learned the profound power of listening. Spielberg dominated their conversation through curiosity and questions rather than making it about himself, reinforcing the idea that the most interesting people are often those most interested in others. Oz outlines 5 methods of becoming an active listener, though he focuses strongly on asking questions that disrupt the autopilot of everyday small talk, encouraging people to explore deeper aspects of themselves instead of superficial facts. Storytelling emerges as a central theme throughout the episode. Oz highlights that stories are how people remember experiences and build connection. Through carefully crafted narratives, one can shape others' memories, omissions, and even emotions. This storytelling ability, combined with acute observation, is a critical skill set for leaders, entrepreneurs, and effective communicators. Ultimately, Oz Pearlman emphasizes that the real magic of mentalism is making others feel like the star. Success arises from understanding what others think and want, building authentic connections, and crafting memorable experiences that ripple outward. His reflections on obsession, mental preparation, and resilience reveal that mastery in any field comes down to focus, repetition, and a mindset that embraces failure as a necessary stepping stone. While mentalism provides the theatrical framework for his career, the deep lessons about observation, influence, and human psychology provide practical advice that transcends performance art and applies directly to life. The episode finishes on a philosophical note that addresses mortality, curiosity, and keeping one's mind open. The magic of creativity and wonder is what makes human connection and growth possible. Oz invites listeners to not only learn to master their own minds, but also to embrace curiosity and compassionate engagement with others, making this podcast a rich resource for anyone looking to improve their social intelligence, communication, and personal effectiveness.